Hi everyone, I'm Tori. I'm an adult doll collector and I create videos for other doll collectors and doll enthusiasts to enjoy. Today we're going to be talking about a very nuanced and controversial topic, and that is reborn art dolls and mental health. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, before we get started, I have to say that there are going to be some sensitive topics in here, so I want to add a little trigger warning for that. I also am not a mental health professional myself, so what I am sharing here is just what I have seen and some of my personal opinions as well. The reborn doll community in general doesn't really like to talk about this topic because there's already so much stigma attached to reborn doll collecting and doll collecting in general. It's really unfortunate because I think that mental health is a very important topic to talk about. I wish that it wasn't so taboo. Because the dolls are so lifelike, a lot of people who stumble upon the doll collecting community automatically jump to assumptions and conclusions, such as, oh my goodness, these people are treating their dolls like they're real, they don't have good mental health, they clearly have something going on with them mentally. Those are just some of the assumptions that people jump to. So it's understandable that a lot of doll collectors don't like to delve into this topic very much. Some other doll collectors would also say, don't talk about this at all, it's none of your business. But I think that it's actually important to have these discussions. It's important to encourage good, healthy mental health, and this is a discussion. I'm just simply sharing some of my opinions, observations, and even my own experiences when it comes to mental health and the reborns. I would also love to hear your opinions and your experiences in the comments below, but as always, please keep it respectful, as I always try to keep all of my discussions respectful here on my channel. First, we're going to get into the good mental health benefits of reborn dolls. These can be extremely helpful therapy tools, and they are also encouraged by most mental health professionals. They can be beneficial simply by being a hobby. All hobbies that are good, healthy hobbies are beneficial to your mental health and also to your physical well-being because, of course, your mental health and your physical well-being are linked. They can help people who have autism, PTSD, depression, anxiety, chronic pain, Alzheimer's, dementia, and so much more. They are weighted, which can provide a very good grounding tool for a lot of those conditions. For some, these dolls can be helpful in moving through the grief process. Others may use these dolls as a form of inner child therapy. Sometimes these therapy tools can be temporary or permanent depending on the individual and their circumstance or their health condition that they are dealing with. I have to reiterate again that most people actually just collect the dolls just because they love to collect them. It's a hobby. But I do know that there are a lot of people out there who do use the dolls particularly specifically for therapeutic benefit. Then there are also those of us out here who started collecting the dolls just because we're doll collectors, we love babies, we love baby fashion, whatever it may be, and then found later on that there were so many therapeutic benefits as well. I'm definitely one of those people. Another mental health benefit of these dolls that isn't often talked about is the sense of community. Having a place where you belong, a community that you belong to, is extremely good for your mental health. Sometimes we have doll shows where we meet up, or groups where we meet up in person just to talk dolls or swap dolls, swap accessories. A lot of us end up making lifelong friendships and connections with other people in the doll community that are outside of doll collecting. I know I definitely have. I have made so many friends that I am so close to in all areas of life now, but we met through the dolls. For some people who can't make it to in-person meetups and doll shows, maybe due to a lot of reasons, whether that be financial or health reasons, whatever it may be, the online community can be extremely important to them. There are Facebook groups and YouTube channels. There are Instagram accounts. There are so many places online to connect over these dolls. Now let's move on to the bad and the ugly. Again, I'm not talking about this to judge anybody or to make anybody feel ashamed, but I think that these discussions are important to have, sometimes for someone's own self-reflection or just for educational purposes. I also have to preface this by saying that any hobby in the world can become unhealthy for somebody, mental health wise and or physically. Most of these potential downsides are not unique to doll collecting. Let's start with a few examples. If your hobby is fishing or reading or video games, you can start to spend too much time doing those things, and it could start to affect your mental health or your family's mental health. Any hobby could also turn into an addiction. For doll collectors, a lot of people just make the assumption that we struggle with this more because there are a lot of stigmas attached to doll collecting, and a lot less people understand doll collecting in general. They say things like, why in the world would you even want to do that anyway? They do not respect that other people have different interests than they do. Part of this may also be rooted in sexism, as doll collecting in general is mostly women. Now, yes, there are lots of men who also collect dolls, but when you look at the Reborn doll community as a whole, the majority of us here are women, and a lot of us love these dolls because we're more nurturing and caring in general. Whereas when you look at other childish hobbies that men have, such as playing video games, those are so much more normalized, and people don't jump to all the same assumptions and conclusions about men playing video games or men playing Legos that they do about women playing with dolls. You don't normally see people trashing men online for having, quote, childish hobbies like Legos or video games, but you do see people really trashing women who have childish hobbies, whether that's collecting their childhood toys that they used to love or playing with dolls in adulthood. As an example, there is a very large content creator who is known on pretty much every platform who has been collecting his favorite childhood robots or RC robots. I don't know what you would call them. Sorry, I'm not part of that community, so I don't know the lingo. But he has been sharing all over Instagram and TikTok and YouTube about how he is collecting these childhood toys of his favorite characters. He shows himself jumping up and down, ecstatic about these toys. The comment section is full of almost all positivity. He makes me want to buy these for myself. I'm so happy to see his inner child happy, on and on and on. Whereas when you look at the comment sections of women playing with dolls in adulthood, it's full of judgment, negativity, nastiness. The list goes on and on. I've kind of gone off on a tangent here, so let's get back to the main points and topic. What I'm trying to say here is that this actually is mostly a very normal hobby. Most people who enjoy this hobby have normal lives outside of this hobby. Here are some of the negatives that I have personally seen in the doll community. Some people may feel the pull to spend too much time and money on their dolls. Some may overuse them for their grief. And this is a very, very, very tiny little bit of people may start to blur the lines between reality and what's not real. One more thing, this could become an addiction. Let's move through these one by one. So, just like with any hobby, someone may spend too much time with their dolls, may spend too much money on their dolls. It could even turn into a compulsive addiction where they feel like they have to spend money. They have to buy another doll. They have to buy more items for their dolls, when in reality, they don't. And I actually think that the addiction part of it is more common in the doll community than most people would like to admit. I have seen a lot of people even admit to this and say that they need to take a step back from doll collecting because it became an addiction for them. A lot of people have even gone into major, massive debt to get the dolls that they wanted. And we've even seen cases where someone has bought so many dolls and then they sell them and they buy more, and they sell them and they buy more. And the second that they get a new doll, then they turn around and they sell it again and they buy a new doll instantly, over and over and over. And sometimes it could be up to like 10 to 20 dolls at once. I have seen that happen. Now, I'm not judging, but I do think in a lot of those instances that can be not healthy. Now, for some people who have the financial ability to do that and that's what they want to do, it may be fine for them. But some people, it's not good for them. And like I said, I have seen people actually recognize that and choose to take the step back. I've also seen the other side of it before, where someone went into such major debt over dolls that they lost very important things in their lives. Confession time. Probably about 9 years ago now, for about a year-long span in my doll collecting journey, I was one of those compulsive buyers and sellers. I was constantly chasing the next thing, trying to be happy with my doll collection. When in reality, my problem was that my mental health was bad. I was going through some mental health issues. And though my dolls were also helping me at that time, it turned into a little bit of a compulsive issue with buying and selling and always chasing the next thing. Eventually, I realized that and I took a step back, and I have been very careful not to let that happen again. I wish, though, that I had recognized that sooner and I hadn't wasted a year of my doll collecting compulsively buying and selling. I have purchased dolls that I regretted during that time, and I also sold dolls that I regretted selling during that time. I have seen this issue be a problem in pretty much any hobby community, though. I've seen it in the reading community on Book Talk and BookTube. I have seen it in the video game community. I have seen it everywhere. So this isn't unique to dolls. I think it's more of a just human problem in general with our hobbies. This is probably the most sensitive topic I'm going to be talking about in this video, and that is when people overuse the dolls when they are grieving. There are some women who buy these dolls to help them get through the grief of miscarriage or losing a child. Again, this is not to judge anybody at all. But I have seen instances where mothers purchase a doll or dolls to try to help them get through the grief of losing a child or miscarriage, and it goes way overboard, where their families are like, hey, this is too much. This isn't healthy anymore. It's crossed the boundary from healthy coping and grieving into not healthy coping and grieving. I think that it is probably very important for a lot of these women to also be in therapy, seeking professional help to help them through their grief. For some women, they have the healthy boundaries all the way when using these dolls for grief, and for some women, not. And again, I have seen it both ways in the doll community before. Now let's talk about the very, very rare cases where reality and non-reality become blurred together with these dolls. I have seen maybe 2 or 3 times total in the doll community where people have taken this too far, treating their dolls like they are actually real and starting to believe that the doll needs care, like it actually needs diaper changes or it actually needs formula or food. Let me be extremely crystal clear. 99.99999% of doll collectors do not believe their dolls are real, do not treat their dolls like they are real, do not think that the dolls need care or anything like that. But there are always going to be the 1 or 2 or 3 people out of millions who start to struggle to the point where they think that their doll is real or needs care. And those people probably need to seek professional help. Unfortunately, the media would have you believe that reborn doll collectors all struggle with that we all treat dolls like they're real and think that they're real. The reason that is, which I've talked about so many times on my channel, media has to sensationalize the hobby somehow. They have to make the hobby look crazy so that they get more clicks and views, which equals more money for them. Media has to exploit this hobby. There are so many wonderful, amazing things about this hobby, which a lot of them I've already mentioned in this video, but the media can't talk about that because they need the clicks, the views. That's how they make money. They have to sensationalize this hobby. The media will purposefully hunt down people who collect these dolls who have extreme mental health issues, which, by the way, that's extremely exploitative. That's horrible of them to do to those people. Or they will twist and change their interviews that they have had with doll collectors who don't have any mental health issues to make it look like they do. Or, again, they will find somebody who actually does believe the dolls are real or relies heavily upon them for therapeutic reasons, whatever it may be. They want to find the craziest cases to present to the world. The blurring of reality and fiction when it comes to these dolls almost never, ever happens. The only time that you see this happen commonly is with people with dementia or Alzheimer's, which is very, very normal and unfortunately is a part of those health conditions. In those cases with dementia and Alzheimer's, these dolls can actually be a very healthy thing for them. It's very calming for them. It can even help them unlock memories that they haven't been able to get to for years. It can remind them of when their children were little or their nieces and nephews were little. their grandchildren. It can unlock so many good memories for them. And in those cases, they think that the dolls are real most of the time, and that is totally okay. I really hope that there's not anything important that I missed in this discussion, but if there is, please let me know in the comments. And again, keep everything respectful and don't judge others for the way that they choose to enjoy their dolls. If you loved this video and you want me to do more videos like this one, also let me know in the comments below. And if you're interested in more deep dive topics in the doll community, please check out my membership. I will have the link to join my membership here on my channel in the description. I think my next video like this one is going to be a discussion about taking dolls on outings. Why adults should or shouldn't be taking their dolls out in public. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll be back with another video soon.